Alright, YouTube, it is Mr. Mean coming at you this Wednesday night. I didn't know what day it was. I forgot. September 11th. Wow. Auspicious day here in the United States. Obviously, back in 2000. We all know what happened. A day of terror and hardship and tragedy, especially for the towers and everything. But you know, my hearts and feelings go out to those people that were affected by all of that. But it is in the future, and so it's only fitting that we talk about the future. But before, let's get into some good housekeeping. Like and subscribe. We are up to 49 members last time I checked. I can't remember. I think 545. As always, thank you guys for liking and subscribing. Hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video. You know, really helps the channel out. If you wish to help donate to the channel to support the wall of shame. Ooh, I'm not sure how we quantify that, because I don't think anybody should own these mini games. You can always, I'm on ZellyPay, ZELLEPay.com. It's tied into most U.S. Online banking applications. So if you have an app on your phone, whether your iPhone or Android, you should, if you have your local banking app, it probably 9 out of 10 times supports ZellyPay. You can also do PayPal Pay Me, John Polak, Mr. Mean, and that goes right to me, of course. So anyway, that helps out the channel, and please rest assured any money that comes in goes back into the channel. Don Perrin sent me a nice contribution not too long ago, thanking me for my review of his game, and I took that money and promptly ordered some flat plastic miniatures. And I did a review, so go back in the archive and check that out. I think that was last week's video or the video before. So many videos, so many. And I just ordered some more flat plastic miniatures, and so there'll be a review coming of those here real soon, because I think they're fantastic. I was on the fence about them, and I got them in, and I ordered the Paizo miniatures and the flat plastic miniatures, and I was severely disappointed in the Paizo miniatures, especially with all the hype around, you know, Pathfinder 2.0, which I am pleasantly surprised with and most happy with. But I have to say, I'm very happy with the flat plastic miniatures. So that being said, today's video du jour, like I said, we're going to talk about the future. Because in the future, everybody's cyberpunk, baby. Cyberpunk 2185. This was kickstarted successfully. I think it funded in under 24 hours, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what number backer I was. I waited late. I wanted to make sure it was going to make it, and obviously it did, because it funded in under 24 or right at 24 hours. They sent us the PDF about a month ago to all the backers, and I looked at it and I liked it. It was a little sparse on art, I thought. So I just opened this. I didn't want to do an unboxing because there's tons of those online, and who wants to watch a big fat guy unbox an RPG? But if that's something you guys want to see, you know, post in the comments below. But this is by Robert Mariner Dodds. I will say Robert is very active on his Discord. You can go to DragonTurtleGames.com, I believe it is. I'll put a link in the show notes. But their Discord channel is very active, and he is on there quite a bit. I'm hoping to be able to get an interview with him. I did reach out to him on his Discord and ask, and he said he would be down with it, you know, depending on schedules and everything. So I'm going to hopefully try to get him on the channel here in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully go from there. Maybe in about 3 weeks, when my life settled down. My wife will be back out of the hospital. She's undergoing some treatment, and so when she's out of the hospital, I'll have a little more free time, and I won't have the baby to fight with so much, and I'll be able to do some more. And I'm hoping to get a Fantasy Grounds game of this going with my friends, as well as a Pathfinder game. I have a really good online Fantasy Grounds group, some excellent players, and I'm hoping to get them to play this, because we were playing Esper Genesis, but I am just so deflated for Esper Genesis. I think it's an amazing system. I think it's a great game. I did a really good review of it. I like the game, but they're just that is a prime example of how not to do a Kickstarter. These guys are a prime example of how to do a Kickstarter. They didn't overpromise anything. They've given us exactly what we asked for. And so far, I'm pleased as peaches with everything I've gotten. I'm still waiting on some PDFs. And to be honest, I may have them. I just haven't gone to my Kickstarter login and checked. They may have sent me the links to download the PDF books, or they're not done. I haven't. It's on me. It's not on Dragon Turtle. I haven't checked to see what the status is of the extra books, because they were unlocked in the stretch goals. And so those of us who backed at a certain level, got PDF copies of those books. And I'll probably buy the physical copies, but I haven't looked. So it's all on me. It's nothing against Dragon Turtle or Robert, who, like I said, is a super nice guy. But I'm going to say, guys, I'm a huge Cyberpunk fan. Altosaurian Games just sent me the Redbox basically demo kit for the new Cyberpunk. And it looks phenomenal. I haven't had a chance to dig through it too deep, but I'm going to dig into it, and I'll have a review coming of that. I'm hoping maybe once we kick into full winter and life settles down for Mr. Pondsmith, Mike, that I can get him on the show to do an interview. He didn't say no. Let's put it that way. He just said it would have to be in the future, because he's been traveling back and forth to Poland and CD Projekt Red's headquarters and stuff, working on their projects, and so he's been jet lag and all that. And I totally get it. And who has time for some podunk hippie on YouTube? But hopefully he'll make time, and we'll be able to get him, and that'll be awesome. But in the meantime, I do need to reach out to Robert again and ask him when his schedule will allow him, because I would love to interview him, because he's a small press publisher that's done an awesome game. The feedback on this game from everybody I've talked to and in the Discord forums has been very, very positive. And this, for those that don't know, this is based off of the OGL, the Open Games license from Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, and it's basically based around D&D 5th edition. What I like is, again, Esper Genesis did the same thing. They took the OGL and they made it their own. And these guys are very clear up front in the beginning of the book. They tell you, if you know how to play D&D, you have a good idea how to play this. But we took some rules and we threw them right out the window and we made our own. They even rewrote whole sections. So let's do our standard review here. Of course, I kickstarted it. It came in the mail today. I also got the GM screen, which we'll go over in a second. Full color, glossy, hardback. Let's see how many pages we got. So the last page is the OGL. We have 2 pages for character sheets. 281 pages, not including the OGL and the character sheet. There is nothing fancy about the character sheet. It is a very standard, plain character sheet. I have a funny feeling that the audience for this game, being it's Cyberpunk, there's a lot of technologically aligned people that are probably going to come out with some really good Excel character generators, or just different types of character sheets with cool art, because the art in here is phenomenal. Let's talk about the layout of the book. It is I didn't even go through it enough to realize that there's a ribbon in here. Let's see if I can find it. I just saw it when I looked at the back of the book. Let me fumble through this and see if I can get it, because it's wedged in here pretty good. Pull it out this way. I love it when companies do this. I think a lot of other... So there's a nice black ribbon for a bookmark in here, and it'll hang out in the bottom, which is nice. So full color, glossy, very well done. Let's see, where was it? Does it tell us where it was printed? I'm going to assume it was printed in China because I remember them talking about it coming across the ocean and everything. So I'm pretty sure. Oh, it was printed in Lithuania. So I was right about the coming across the ocean, but I'm glad to see that somebody besides China got it. And nothing against China. I have no beef with China. But I want to see, we've had bad luck with certain Chinese printers. If you remember the RPG Shattered, I talked about that and everything, and I had those guys on the show, Tex and NK Zip and all those guys. Wonderful bunch of people. So if you haven't seen that review of Shattered, go back in the archives and check that out, because it's and also the interview I did with those guys is phenomenal. It's a lot of fun. So 284 pages. That includes the license and the character sheets. The art is full color. Obviously, I don't want to say it's computer generated, but I'm sure it's been, photoshopped or whatever. The art is fantastic. The artist that they got, let's see who's the principal artist. I'm sure they mention it. I'm fumbling here, guys. I apologize. It's a long day at work and I'm quite tired. Cover art is by Klaus Whitman. Interior art was by Mobo, Biagio del Alessandre, Cassandra Dodds, Shin Fei, Aubrey. There's a bunch of people. Klaus Whitman again did the art, and I love the cover. I think that just screams cyberpunk. This chick with the hair and the eyes, and just basically giving you that I don't give a shit look. I think it's great. The back of the book looks just as well. I like the hexagons. What I think really sets this book apart is the fact that they rewrote some of the 5th edition rules to fit their version of what they think the game should play. I love the character classes. Part 1 here, creating a character. You determine your ability scores, which is not the normal D&D, 4d6, drop the lowest, or a point buy system. Here you use 2d6 plus 5 and you roll it 6 times. The other glaringly obvious change that they made is there's no charisma and there's no wisdom. They have been replaced with wisdom is now technology and charisma is people. And that makes total sense for a cyberpunk game where you're dealing with, in the year 2185 and crazy technology and stuff. So we have strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, technology, and people. There's a fairly robust skill list. I'm not going to go by it all. I want you to go out and buy the book, because I think if you're a 5th edition fan, or you want... I think one of the good things that 5th edition has going for it is the ease of rules. They've streamlined the rules, and I think they're fun to play. I'm GMing a Midgard campaign from Kobold Press, and I have to say I'm enjoying it. I love the way the characters are going. I like the mechanics. I don't have any beef with anything. I am going to say, though, off the top of my head, I think Pathfinder 2.0 is a much better fantasy system. That's just my opinion, and that's just right now. It could change next week, but I've never been a huge fan of 5th edition, even less so of 4th edition. 3.5 was okay, but I wasn't a huge fan of it. Pathfinder's just gone a different route, and I like the way they've gone. But anyway, this is not a Pathfinder review. We already did that review. Go back in the archives and watch it. So those are some of the big changes. 2d6 plus 5. The numbers that you roll are your ability score. So there's no wonky mechanics here. There's no rolling, 4 dice and dropping the lowest or anything like that. But if you do want to jump in and play right away, they do have the point or the pre-generated stats, which is 16, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 9, and you assign those appropriately. But of course, you're going to want to look at the classes and see what your strengths and your weaknesses are as far as attributes go, and what you want to have in there. You choose an origin, you generate a vice, you assign your ability scores, you generate a background, you determine your age, you choose a class, you calculate your skill modifiers and your saving throws, and then pretty much from there, you're good to go. You buy your gear and you choose a name and you play. I don't know about you guys. I see a lot of games and they say choose a name as like the last thing. That's the first thing I do. I already have a defined look and a name for my characters. And I don't know if that's because I'm a GM and I have to come up with a lot of NPCs, and I don't run a lot of canned adventures, so everything's off the top of my head. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. What do you guys do? I'd be interested to hear if you create, you do it like the book says, and then you come up with a name. That seems so foreign to me. But everybody's different. So our origins, this is where you're going to get some like perks, very similar to how Pathfinder does it. You choose, and these are kind of like also like backgrounds in regular D&D 5th edition, but like you're going to choose that and it's going to give you some stuff. So the Badlander, the first one is a Badlander, and you get an ability score increase, which it is important to have quick reaction and steady feet in the Badlands. Your dexterity score increases by 1. It goes in to tell you the age, the speed, which is 30 feet, always ready, which is another trait that Badlanders get. And Badlanders spend their lives under the constant threat of attack. From a young age, you were forced to wear armor at all times. You are proficient in light and medium armor. So you get that just for being a Badlander. Hollow sight, the radiation poisoning that has doomed you to a short lifespan, has also gifted you with the ability to see in the dark unaided. You can see in complete darkness as if it were dim light up to a distance of 60 feet. You cannot discern colors in darkness, seeing only in shades of gray. So, yeah, you're going to die pretty quick, but you can see in the dark. Kind of a trade-off. And you get a bunch of other things. And they have, usually most of these origins will have 2 sub-origins, just like D&D, with its races, and Pathfinder with its origin, its what does Pathfinder call it? Your not origin, not your background. I can't think of it. Anyway, it's basically when you choose your race. So here you have a scavenger or a bruiser. And of course you get different ability increases from there. So gutter punk is another one, and that's basically your gangs. And it goes in corporate kid, so you grew up rich. Regular Joe, this I really like. I have a good friend named Darren, D-Train as we love to call him, or used to call him, because he's not nearly as big as he used to be, and he's happily married and doing great, and I'm happy for him. But he is a big fan, of playing the regular Joe, just a dude, and always plays a human when we play a role-playing game. If that's the option, he's straight up like that. So if we were to play a superhero game, he'd play someone like Batman or Robin. He would be a dude with just a bunch of skills, because he likes the regular Joe. So I think this is a game that Darren would absolutely like because of that option. And then you have a synth. And a synth is basically a cyborg android, synthetic humanoid, artificial intelligence that has a body and looks human, but is not. And in this world, there are penalties for passing yourself off as a human when you're a synth. And if you get caught, you can be, terminated, and all that fun stuff. And it all depends on the areas. But yeah. And then you have a wormer, which is basically they're basically aliens, if I understand right. Yeah, the colonies. Wormers live on Earth and have defied the quarantine and snuck back onto the planet, gaining citizenship as soon as they set foot on Earth's soil. Treated as less than human, wormers are usually blamed for most of the petty crimes in the modern world and are quite often the victims of crime themselves. So they're the alien race that's here. So really super cool. But they look mostly human. There's a picture of a guy right there. So that's a wormer. And again, the art's fantastic. They have aging, and then you go into your languages. Then your classes. This is where this game really shines. These classes definitely feel very unique. You can make them analogous to the D&D classes. But again, this is a cyberpunk setting. It's a futuristic setting. It's not fantasy. It's sci-fi fantasy if you want to go that route, or futuristic fantasy, but it is not sword and sorcery fantasy. So you have the Daimyo, which is basically their big thing is they're your big bad warrior, natural leaders, heavy weapons experts. Don't be surprised to see one of these tanks carrying around a minigun as if it were an Uzi. So these guys are your fighters basically. Then you have the doc, which is basically your medic. You have your enforcer, which is kind of muscle. Enforcers can be anything from a sniper lying prone at 600 feet from their target to a swordsman wielding a katana in melee combat. So if you want your classic street samurai from Cyberpunk or Shadowrun, your street sam, this is the character for you. Your mono katana. You have your hacker, which is exactly that. It's your computer guy. Your investigator, which is obviously the intelligence. And then you have your scoundrel, which is basically your thief. Could be your face man. They fill that role. So it tells you their saving throws, their hit dice, weapons and armor proficiency, and then it goes into each one. And again, the art is phenomenal. Let me see if I find... Yeah, this is the one that in the playtest and everything really stuck out to me. I love that picture. I think that's an awesome image right there. It screams, cyberpunk to me. The Enforcer, yeah, let's see. And they do have some different style of art. It's not all this like super high gloss. Like here's a nice black and white, obviously of an Enforcer of some kind, but the art is fantastic. And obviously cybered up to the max. Street Samurai, which is one of the archetypes. So the art is, it's glossy paper. It's relatively thick. I have felt thicker paper. One of the things that I love about this book, and that I'm very happy they did for this grognard's old ass eyes, is the font. They didn't use any crazy kanji. They didn't use any, weird futuristic fonts. These are just simple fonts at a decent size that are easy to read. They could have made this book a little smaller and made the page count a little smaller, which probably would have saved the money, but they didn't. They chose to go with a nice big bold font on black and white, black font, white background, and it reads really easy. There's no eye strain here. You'll get a little bit from the glossiness if you're reading in a bright light or the sunlight and the sun bouncing off of it, but that's a simple tilt of the page and you're good to go. Another cool thing about this is they came up with their own currency, the Wanlong, which I think they call them longs, is the slang. And yes, there is a slang section. I think it's the first page of the book. It is. Longs, otherwise known as Wanlongs, which is the standard unified currency. So like the new yen or credits. So cowboy is a bounty hunter. Crash and burn is to fail completely. 404 is to die. Pixel freak is somebody in love with an AI. A Pinocchio is a synth masquerading as a human. Nick Stick is a cigarette. Wesley is a crush addict. Get it? Wesley Crusher. Street rat, low-level gang member. Reap is an organ harvester. Hack job is an underground illegal cyberdoc operation. Ghosting is a Neuralink hacking. So some terms we're familiar with, some new ones. Very, very, very much well done. I got to say, I'm very happy with it. The investigator, I think, is a cool image because it just, Dick Tracy, but yet with a cyberpunk feel to it, So, all in all, guys, this is just, it's fantastic. I can't wait to dive into this. I'm going to run it for my group, my Fantasy Ground group. I'm going to run it for them, and then, go from there. And we have our background generation, which you choose, and you get a bunch of skills. You get your wage, how much money you make, your role in society, your parting gift of what happens when you leave, your recruitment payout because you can go through these terms. When you decide to retire from a career and you have served enough terms in that career path to qualify, you receive a retirement payout. This is in addition to your parting gift, and anything else you may have received from your final term. You then begin your cyberpunk life. So it's just a way to give you some extra longs, and give you some flavor to your character, which is really cool. So you have the corporate drone, the criminal, the entertainer, the explorer, the laborer, law enforcement, merchant, military and technician, unskilled worker, and then it goes into your vices. You have to choose a vice. There is something in this dystopian future. Everybody has a vice, something that they do to just make the day bearable, and this is where you get to choose. And it's nice because I believe it's on a D100. Yes, it is. It's on a D100 chart, so you could roll randomly. I love random charts and character creation. That's one of my big draws to Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay and Zweihander is that random chart. So you can just come up with crazy cool characters that you may never think of on your own. You have your equipment section, talks about gear, armor, helmets, that kind of stuff. Nice 3D rendered, art for the weapons. Again, art phenomenal. Do yourself a favor and just buy the book, or buy the PDF if cash is tight and you need to go a little cheaper. It's amazing. There's augmentations, and they talk about how you get them and how they work, and they have different tiers. I think tier 4 is the highest. Tier 5 is the highest. This I want to say this is from an anime. I just don't remember which one, but it's basically a conductor, standing above this apocalyptic explosion, just waving his baton. So I think that's very fitting. Some just like to watch the world burn. There's addiction, of course, ties in with your vices. Not necessarily. You can have a vice that's not anywhere related to your addiction, but you can have addictions if you start pumping a lot of combat drugs. And here, this is nothing new. Cyberpunk had this. Early Shadowrun had it. So it's obviously been in there. There's a nice section on social interaction, what you can do between missions, how you can earn money, and things like that. The section on economy, alcohol, food, rent, temporary accommodations, travel, and then we go into combat. And this is where this game shines. It's very well done. I don't think you'll have too many questions. Everything, it's a D20 system, so you're gonna take your whatever your combat ability is, whether it's firearms or melee. You're gonna roll a D20. You're gonna add your modifier for whichever one it is, and you're gonna go. Just more awesome art. Like I said, glossy pages. The black and white isn't too shiny, so it's easy to read. Some of the pages that I have a little bit of art on the back or whatever are a little hard to see. This is another cool piece of art. 2-page spread, world details. This is where you're going to learn about the world and its dystopian future and everything that's going. The colonies, the space exploration, all the different companies, Houston Dynamics, Pac Kim Corporation, One Aerospace, Nightingale Exploration. There's a couple nice homages in here and treats if you're a longtime Cyberpunk or Shadowrun fan. Some of these will ring a bell or whatever. Like I read it and I immediately think Seder Krupp, which was the dragon-owned German corporation in Shadowrun. But here it's Schmidt Wagner, which it just screams Seder Krupp to me. So, and there's nothing that says this is D&D. Basically, you could put dragons in here if you wanted. If you wanted to turn this into Shadowrun, I don't think it would be terribly hard, because we have D&D analogs for orcs and elves and dwarves. You can just add them in here. It's not going to be hard. So there's like a ton of creativity here that you can do, and just groups and interests. They do a great job. I mean, half the book is laid out with just the world and what's going on and the forces that are in there. And the things that are happening. And then, of course, we get page 167 starts, Welcome to San Francisco. And this is like a detailed world guide for San Francisco, which is where the game starts off. And all of a sudden I got the hiccups. and all the districts that break up San Francisco and tell you about it. So basically analogous to Night City and Cyberpunk. And brands of San Francisco. There's all different types of things in here. I won't go through them all, but they are all very cool. There are interesting random NPCs, which as a GM I find this awesome. So a whole bunch in here. Charlie Falcone. That just screams Batman to me. If you're a Batman fan, you know who Falcone is. But there's more than 20, 30 random NPCs. Random encounter generator, which is awesome. That's never a bad thing. And you get several pages, and the random encounter generators are for the districts. So District 1, is going to be different from District 4, so to speak. So that is very cool. It's all a D20 roll, and you just roll, and you go from there. So very well done. Traps, triggering traps, all your information for that. Starting wealth by level. So if you want to make, more advanced characters, it's not a problem. And all the stuff that you need. It's a couple random charts. You can come up with generic crews, enemies and villains. This is amazing. I remember seeing this in the PDF. Surveillance drones, merchant, a civilian, mini spider bot. Challenge level 1/8, so these are going to be relatively weak, but we got a security guard, a street rat, multi-rotor combat drone, that thing, and the challenge levels go up, and as they go up the things get tougher and tougher. Challenge rating 1 is a light combat unit, law enforcement officer, canine guards, advanced servant, nerve drainer. Challenge level 2 is a gouger or gang lieutenant. So all these, tons of information and stuff for you to play with. And just, this is another cool piece of art. This is one of their earlier pieces of art. And it's just someone who's had the augmentation of their teeth or fangs or whatever. There was a Cyberpunk supplement put out years ago. And I'm not sure if I have it. It's on the shelf here. Yes. This is how far back I go, kids. Let's see, when was this published? Is there a date on here? 1992. This is the second printing. I don't even have the original. I thought I had the original, but I don't. Knight's Edge. This is basically, it was by Janus Publications, Ianus Games, an alternate reality for Cyberpunk. This is, you want to bring vampires and creatures of the night into your Cyberpunk game. You could easily steal this source material and add it to Carbon 2185. And this is a great, and look at that, it's in pristine condition too. I've had this since 1992. I ran this quite a lot when I was running Cyberpunk. It's one of my favorite source books. So this would fit into Cyberpunk really, really well, or to Carbon 2185, for adventures. And there's some cool adventure ideas in there, and all kinds of stuff. And then I believe, yes, Chow's Request, a Carbon 2185 adventure for first level Cyberpunks. The nice part is, if you were a Kickstarter backer, you got the other. There's 2 other parts to this, so it's a 3-part adventure, and I have all 3 parts. So you can get that, and it comes with the maps and everything, give you a basic layout. And it's a really nicely done little adventure. I read it, when it was sent to me, and I haven't really touched it, but I'm definitely going to be diving into this a lot more and reading up on it and enjoying it, because this is a Kickstarter that was done right. The book was presented on time, got it, and everything else so far has been great. So the other thing I bought as an extra add-on for I think $20 was the GM screen, and I gotta say I am pleasantly surprised, and I am happy, because I hate flimsy GM screens. I love Infinity. Modifius did a great job with that game, but I am sorely disappointed in that GM screen. It is very flimsy, and I don't feel that it will hold up very well over time. Now the good news is, unfortunately, I'm not running a game of Infinity. I wish I was, because it's a very cool game, and I love the 2D20 system, but I feel sorely let down in that GM screen. The Pathfinder GM screen for Pathfinder 2.0, again, ultimately disappointed. I thought it was overpriced and you got nothing with it. Here, I paid what was less, I think, it was $20. I think it was $19.99 for the Carbon 2185 GM screen, but I feel for that $20 I got my money's worth. Reason being, this is a very sturdy, very thick landscape GM screen. I'm just going to slowly go across the screen here for the cover art because it is amazing. So I hope you guys could see that. And then on the inside, it's pretty well, there's no wasted space. I mean, they've used everything and they've put it all in there, all the basic information that the GM will need. It is super thick, and it's very useful. I don't feel that the information is wasted. The information in the Infinity GM screen and the Pathfinder screen are both very good, but I just felt the quality of the Infinity screen was very inferior, and then the quality of the Pathfinder GM screen was a little bit lacking, as well as the price. For that price, I just, and that's a top tier product, and I think I should have got more bang for my buck. Now here, and I got a nice landscape GM, screen. It's very well done. It's easy to read, and all the basic rules that I'm going to need are there. My one criticism that I will have that I think Pathfinder nailed is I wish they would have put page numbers on here, because this is a new system and not everybody's going to know it. So you're going to have to reference rules, and there's no page numbers on here. So I wish they would have put page numbers on there. So that's the GM screen. It's very sturdy. The art is phenomenal. So that's Carbon 2185, guys. We've been going for about 35 minutes now. I've babbled about some other things, not necessarily Carbon 2185 related, but I'm going to tell you, in Mr. Mean's book, this is a buy. I can't wait to get this to the game table or to the Fantasy Grounds game table and run it. I think it's going to be phenomenal. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I love Cyberpunk. It is one of my favorite genres. I think I actually like Cyberpunk a little bit more than I like Supers, and I'm a huge Supers fan. But I think Cyberpunk has a near and dear place to my heart. Fantasy's always great. You can always find people to play fantasy, but you can't always find people to play Cyberpunk. So I'm hoping my gaming group, either my local group here in Duluth, would love to give it a try, and or my online Fantasy Grounds group. We've been on hiatus because I was so disenchanted with Alligator Alley and their other lack of support for Esper Genesis. It was just one excuse after another. I think they just came out with the threats database, and I'm so burnt out on Kickstarters, guys. I don't know how many more are going to get my money. But then I go and do ones like this where they fulfill and they've kept us up to date and they've been upfront about everything, and the product is amazing. I mean, they've come out with a great product. And then you do these other Kickstarters where you don't hear anything from them for months at a time, and then when you do get a notice, it's something lame, or they just put up a note to say no new news right now. We'll tell you later, and it's like, come on, something. It's it's your product. And I'm looking at you, Shotguns and Sorceries. Again, I don't even know where that game is. I buried it somewhere. I just don't even want to look at it. I'm so upset with it. But if you want to see Mr. Mean get ugly and really pissy, go watch that video of Shotguns and Sorceries, because that was painful. But yeah, Carbon 2185, guys. Kickstarter done right, product done right, customer service done right. They've really they've listened to their customers. They've tried to appease everybody within reason. There's a couple times where I saw them kind of put their foot down and say, no, this is our vision and this is what we're doing, if you want to come along for the ride. Because let's face it, guys, in the ultimate journey, this is their opinion of Cyberpunk and what they like. You're just along for the ride. If you don't like it, you don't have to buy it. But hopefully my little mini review here has given you an idea of the game and whether or not you think you should go out and buy it. Hopefully judged by what I've done, you'll make a decision for the positive and go buy the game. I think it's worth your money. Let me see if the price is on it, because I know the Kickstarter price isn't indicative of the price. It's not, because I think this is the Kickstarter cover. I think the actual press book will have a different cover. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. I haven't been on the Kickstarter page for a minute, just because I knew the book was coming. I just didn't know exactly when. I did not get a tracking number or anything like that, but I don't really have a beef with that, because they like I said, they kept us up to date every step of the way. The book is here. It's in our warehouse. We're eagerly packaging it. Everybody's going to start receiving their books this week, and they're spot on. I got my book roughly when they said I was going to get it, so I don't have any problem with that. And their communication's been fantastic. I'll tell you this: if they do another Kickstarter and it's something I'm interested in, whether it's an add-on for Carbon 2185 or another world or game system that they're going to do, I will give it some very strong consideration if it's the same people behind it that did Carbon 2185, because Robert and his crew did a bang-up job. And Dragon Turtle Games is, I think they're a star to watch rise. Very happy with the product. Can't wait to get it to the table. What's your thoughts? Did you kickstart it? Are you going to buy it? Is it something you're interested in? Are you not a Cyberpunk fan? I try to cover little known games, and I think this one falls into that category. Didn't have a whole ton of backers. It had a good amount, but in the grand scheme of things, it was relatively small. They had a low ceiling for production, and they met it. So I don't think I would hazard a guess they might have even taken a loss on this, but it's launched a company, and hopefully the buzz around it will be exciting, and that will prompt them to do more product and make more money. And I'm hoping that's the case. I wish them all the luck, because they've been very wonderful to deal with. Like I said, Robert, the owner and the main designer, is very active on the Discord pages and always has a kind word. I've never heard him badmouth anybody or anything like that. So that's really refreshing. And it's like I said, it's a gorgeous game, guys. Go out and buy it. Play it. Let me know what you think. If you go out and if you buy it from their website, tell them Mr. Mean sent you. And I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I think I'm going to enjoy it, because so far what I've read, I really like. And if you're on the fence, get the PDF, and then after the PDF, if you're like, oh, I think I want a Dead Tree version, go for it, because I don't think you'll be dissatisfied. The art in the book is phenomenal. It's really well done. And I think they've got a winner here. So, guys, that's Mr. Mean. I'm getting tired. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock, and I'm pooped. And I got to get up early tomorrow to go to work. And I wish you all peace, love, and happiness. And remember, Mr. Mean says, be nice. Oh, man, did I stop recording? If I hit this thing in the middle and cut it off, I'm going to be pissed. Oh, it didn't record. 0 bytes. Holy shit. Did I not record?